Hello there guys, welcome to another my live video. Just watched some of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference reaction, building up to the game this evening against Chelsea, and I am going to interpret some of the stuff he did currently mention. Obviously, as you all know, he has confirmed that Paul Pogba is not expected back until December. Obviously, he has confirmed the extent of his ankle injury, and he's had this ankle injury now for a number of weeks, obviously, and he's missed 8 of the last 10 games in all competitions, but he is aware, he's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of what difference Paul Pogba does make in that midfield, of course, when he's fully fit. He did say there's a slight chance that he could be back for the Sheffield United game after the international break, but it is very very unlikely. He's also said that Fred and Andres Pereira are two very very important players for Man United, and we have seen glimpses in certain games of how good they can be this season. He's confirmed that Fred will take Paul Pogba's position for them a while. He also mentioned that Pereira has developed in the last couple of games, because Andres Pereira has done really really well in his last couple of games. He also gave his perception on Scott McTominay. He's also credited him because he's done really really well this season for Man United, and obviously he has been a first team regular. In regards to McTominay being long-term solution for Man United, I've got element of concerns about that. These question marks around him. Can he keep the consistency up? But he actually said Scott McTominay is actually comparison to the likes of Fred and Andres Pereira. Germany's press conference as well. He also praised Frank Lampard for the for what he's done with Chelsea so far, because obviously Chelsea did endure a really difficult start to the season, but in the last 7 games in all competitions, they've won, and obviously they have rejuvenated themselves with Chelsea, and Solskjaer also admitted that Chelsea's youngsters are ahead of Manchester United. He also said, did Solskjaer, he was flattered with the 4-0 win over Chelsea on the opening day of the Premier League season, because he actually said in that game Chelsea were pressing, Chelsea played the expansive football, but we still won the game by 4-0. Solskjaer's also assured definitely that he will not be playing the same team as he did do against Norwich. So Solskjaer will make a lot of alterations in the squad. He will make a lot of alterations in the squad, and he'll see this competition as more of the youngsters to currently get their opportunities. But obviously during the season anyway, Solskjaer's had to make alterations in the squad. Obviously reflecting on the amount of injuries that Manchester United have had, and we have still got injuries now. Like I said, Paul Pogba's out. Eric Bailly's out until the end of the year. Diego Dalot is still out with injury. I think it's unknown when Dalot will be back. Alex Tuanzebe also is out with a hip injury. I don't know when he's going to be back. Matic, of course, has suffered a minor problem. Luke Shaw is still out with a hamstring injury. Luke Shaw hasn't played since the 2-1 home defeat to Crystal Palace earlier on in the season, and we are aware of how much of an imperative player he is. Luke Shaw. But I think now a lot of Man United fans, believe that Brandon Williams, is a much better solution than Luke Shaw. Brandon Williams has played 2 games for Manchester United, and I thought he was man of the match in the game against Partizan Belgrade. Something else Solskjaer's assured as well, I want to take into account that James Garner and Brandon Williams will be involved in this game this evening, which is obviously very very good news, because I thought James Garner was very very impressive on his full debut in the 1-0 win against Partizan Belgrade. Obviously, Martial's just come back from injury recently, and since he's come back from injury, he's been absolutely fantastic as Anthony Martial. He's been really really good as Anthony Martial. He scored 2 goals in his last 2 games. He wasn't so effective in the Partizan Belgrade game, but I thought he really stepped up to the plate against Norwich. Martial now has scored 52 goals for the football club in all competitions since his arrival from Monaco back in 2015. So Martial now is into his 5th season as a Manchester United player, and I think if he can avoid sustaining any more injuries and he can keep the consistency up, I think Martial can have a really good season, in all honesty. And he is only 23 years of age. My perception on Rashford, I think he stepped up to the plate in the last couple of games as Marcus Rashford. I've been very very impressed with him. In regards to him being a long-term solution for Man United, I am actually confident about that, because I still believe he's the long-term solution, even though he's mainly enjoyed a difficult time this season. But the good thing is now that Rashford has registered 50 goals for the football club. But so far, anyway, Rashford has spent the entirety of his career with Manchester United. Yeah, and so I have been very, very impressed, with Man United anyway in the last 3 games, and I do credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for the last 3 games. I think we showed a lot of tactical flexibility, and obviously, Solskjaer in the Liverpool game, went with a 3-5-2. He also went with a 3-5-2 against Partizan Belgrade, but then he surprisingly, he reverted back to the 4-2-3-1 against Norwich. I thought he actually, would have stuck with a 3-5-2 against Norwich, but I think now this change of formation stuff, and he's tried a few different other elements, this could actually turn Manchester United's season around, because I have been criticising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this season. Also, to a lot of Man United fans have also been criticising his tactics, because for the majority of this season, we have been tactically inept, and like I said, I have been criticising his tactics. But I think Solskjaer's perception on the new formation is that he likes it, because obviously it provides probably more width, and also it enables us to stick with 2 attackers up top. So actually we could revert back to the 3-5-2 formation this evening. For the majority of this season though, Solskjaer has been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation. We know mainly it hasn't been working out, but credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for the last 3 games. It was a very, very good result against Norwich, I want to take into account, and I think analysing that, that was our best performance of the season. Was the game against Norwich. We created chances, we scored obviously 3 good goals, we played with a lot of tenacity. I thought the personnel was good, the formation was good, and there was some good individual performances. I'm surprised with Man United's performance, because for the majority of this season, we have been struggling to create chances. We've been obviously struggling to score goals, and but I was very impressed again in the game against Norwich, because obviously with that win, it's taken us up to 7th in the league. We are still sitting 7 points behind Chelsea in top 4. But before the Norwich game, we was sitting 15th in the league. But actually that win against Norwich was our first away win in the Premier League, since February. So that just indicates how bad our away form has been. But if we can win Chelsea, if we can beat Chelsea this evening, obviously we're progressing to the 5th round of the Carabao Cup, and we also will complete a hat-trick of away wins in space of a week. And like I did take into the equation as well, Solskjaer will rest some imperative players for this evening. He will rest some imperative players, obviously because Bournemouth is on the horizon, so games are coming up thick and fast. But I think now reflects on the last 3 results anyway. The pressure has eased off Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because obviously he was under so much intense pressure before the game against Liverpool, and I think the last 3 results you could arguably say have saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure at Manchester United, which is obviously very, very good news. But I don't think he's under as much pressure, to the extent, as he was. He's probably maybe still under some pressure. You still probably think a lot of Manchester United fans, still want him out of the football club. And my perception, hasn't really changed regarding Solskjaer. Even though we've had 3 good results, it still hasn't changed. I still don't believe he's the long-term future for Manchester United, and I still believe he isn't the right man, to elevate Manchester United forward. If I'm going to be quite honest with you. But yeah, like I mentioned, I'm really, really looking forward to the game this evening. Man United and Chelsea is always a very, very good game. You've obviously already seen my preview, but I credit Frank Lampard in a way. Even though I'm not a Chelsea fan, he's done a really, really good job with Chelsea. Obviously, Lampard knows the traditions of Chelsea Football Club, and in that aspect, he's compatible to Solskjaer, because also Solskjaer knows the traditions of Manchester United. And Solskjaer was a long-serving player for Man United. He served 11 years. Lampard was obviously a long-serving player for Chelsea. He served 13 years. So obviously both managers obviously both managing their all their respective clubs. But, like I said, Lampard obviously got appointed in as Chelsea manager, during the summer. Obviously, Sarri left Chelsea at the end of last season. Well, he actually, got sacked. He obviously progressed Chelsea, to the European, he won the Europa League with Chelsea. He also progressed them to the Carabao Cup final. But obviously, that wasn't enough, to save his tenure with Chelsea Football Club. So he only had a really short tenure. But, Lampard, don't forget to take into account, he hasn't had any money to spend so far. Well, Chelsea can't get anyone anywhere because obviously, they have got a transfer ban, so I don't think they can do any transfer activity until next summer. They can't do any at all until next summer. They did lose Eden Hazard, during the course of the summer. Plus, Chelsea have got quite a few injuries. They've got the same extent of injuries of what probably Manchester United have got. It's confirmed tonight that few of their key players won't be playing. So N'Golo Kante won't be playing. Ruben Loftus-Cheek won't be playing. Ross Barkley, I think, has been out with injury. They've also got Rudiger out. I think Andreas Christensen's out with injury for Chelsea. So they have got quite a few injuries. But they have got some good players of Chelsea. That could cause us all sorts of problems. But, Lampard, he's obviously, don't forget, Chelsea's all-time leading goal scorer with 211 goals in all competitions. Obviously, the vast majority of his goals in the league anywhere, came at Chelsea. I think he scored around 147 Premier League goals for Chelsea. But, he hasn't really got that managerial experience as Lampard as yet. Obviously, he only started management last season with Derby, so we'll take that into account. And, he enjoyed a good season with Derby because he did progress Derby to the Europa League, to the playoff final. And so he may do a really good job with Chelsea. But Chelsea have obviously sacked a lot of managers in space of a short period of time. Obviously, they got rid of Sarri, they got rid of Jose Mourinho, they got rid of the likes of, Avram Grant, Scarali, I think they got rid of Villas-Boas once, so then there's others as well who they've got rid of, Antonio Conte, so they have, got rid of quite a few over the years of Chelsea. But analysing our record at Stamford Bridge, it isn't really, really good anyway. We did actually win at Stamford Bridge last season in the FA Cup by 2-0, and that was a very, very good victory, and that was our first win at Stamford Bridge last season since 2012. We haven't won there in the Premier League, since 2012, so that's around, nearly 8 years ago now. So that just indicates out, how bad my record is at Stamford Bridge. But, I am really looking forward to the game and that. But I don't think this game, will replicate, the game on the opening day of the season. So I mean that I don't think, it will be 4-0. I think, to be fair, actually, it will be a very, very close game between the two sides and that. But yeah, really, really looking forward to it. Like I did mention on my recent videos I've done, I've obviously give you an update regarding some of the transfer news and that, because obviously we do know that Solsjaker is making plans for January, because obviously he's aware that a massive rebuild is needed at the football club, and I think Manchester United are willing to give him the time, that obviously he does want. They're willing to give him the time that he does want, because you can still quite frankly say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. Because analysing the majority of this Man United team, it isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's anywhere. The vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's, because Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players into the football club. Now, obviously, Solskjaer is still inheriting the vast majority of them. But Solskjaer, anywhere, has been assured that he will be giving money to spend in January. I think we'll probably, in the next couple of windows, need probably upwards of 250 million, if we are to get, the players that we do want to recommend in. Like I said, I think we need at least 5 to 6 more signings if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club. Don't forget, Ryan Giggs recently came out and he actually, said, that he told Ed Woodward, that, to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at least 6 new signings. But yeah, and I did say, our recruitment has definitely, got to improve. It's got to improve our recruitment, definitely. I said in the next 3 to 4 windows, the recruitment's got to improve, because analysing our recruitment, it's been very, very poor for several years. And obviously, due to that blame stems from the board in that aspect. And I think, the board are accountable for a lot of things, what's been going on at Manchester United for several years. And some Man United fans are demanding our current board out. And, they want us, to recommend a new board in, and I think the board do need to assure structural changes at the football club, and whether they can do this or not, I do not know. But the board have been a liability for several years, and I do admit, they didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough during the summer. I think Ed Woodward's compatible to the board, because I think he also, a lot of the blame does stem from him, and a lot of Man United fans are also demanding Ed Woodward out in the football club, but we are in transition, and Solskjaer obviously came out and admitted that Man United's transition has been very, very difficult, and we could be in transition for quite some time. But there's some aspects of me that do credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I have got some element of concerns about him, but the things I do credit him for, that he did recommend 3 good players to the squad during the summer. We spent nearly £150 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire, and they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers, as you all know. They've all enjoyed a fantastic start to their Manchester United career, so it was good during the summer, that we got that experienced centre half in. We also got that right back in, and we did address some of the problematic areas that we did needed to address. But there's still problematic areas now in the squad, that Manchester United do need to address. We definitely need a midfielder. Some people believe we need a couple of midfielders. We definitely need creativeness in that midfield. We need depth in that midfield, and we need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. We need to definitely recruit a replacement for him. We definitely need a striker. Someone that can come in, that can assure us goals, and someone who can be more effective in the box, and someone that can lead the lines. And we need experience in that attacking line, because we've got a lot of young players in that attacking line. But like I mentioned, we look very exposed in that attacking line following the dismissal of Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez during the summer. Obviously as well, during the summer, Man United were in search for a right winner. But yeah, definitely, further more investment is needed in the squad. But there's a lot of players on our agenda, like I mentioned. I probably personally believe that we'll do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer, and we'll look to get a couple of players in January. I think Solskjaer's orchestrating on making probably around he wants to bring 2 forwards in January, obviously. But so as I give you the news, didn't I, earlier on regarding Erling Haaland, who currently plays for Red Bull Salzburg. Obviously, he's only 19 years of age. He hasn't really been at Red Bull Salzburg that long. But I was reading reports today, and he's coming out from a few media outlets, and they say that Man United are the favourites now to go on and sign him in January. I don't know how much the player would cost. He's only 19, like I mentioned. Napoli reportedly were in the race for the player, but now reportedly from their perspective, they expect Man United to go on and sign him in January, because reportedly, Napoli have pulled out of the race. Now, this could be beneficial for Man United, because obviously he's played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance, as this Haaland, Erling Haaland, is played under Solskjaer's guidance, because during his time with Mould. So maybe Solskjaer is keen on reuniting with a player. He can score goals. He scored quite a few times in the Champions League. So do you think he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United? So he's another player on our agenda. There may not be a lot of trustworthy in this. Maybe this could be, on this particular story, the media, just justifying their existence. But I'm just telling you, what I've read, from media outlets. But it's definitely, looking very, very probable that Man United are going to sign Mario Mandzukic in January. And that's looking very, very likely, because I was reading a lot of reports the other week, and it did actually say that, we're expected to sign him in January. Mario Mandzukic obviously has agreed to slash his wage demands from $300,000 a week in half from $300,000 a week to £150,000 a week, in obviously order to make the move to Manchester United. Mario Mandzukic would be a good adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. Obviously he isn't a long-term replacement for him. The only element of concern I've got about was recommending Mario Mandzukic, and it's obviously regarding his age, because he is now age 30. 3 is Mario Mandzukic, so you can quite frankly say he's only got a couple of years left in his footballing career. But take into account Mario Mandzukic is a cheaper solution. Man United will only have to pay around 9 or 10 million. I think it did say Man United were discussing what contract he will be given, and I think we're willing to give him around an 18-month contract. But don't forget, we went in for Mario Mandzukic during the course of the summer. We went in for him. Well, it was towards the back end of the summer transfer window we went in for Mario Mandzukic. But he scored a lot of goals at Juventus. He scored 44 goals in 162 appearances in all competitions, but he's lost his place in the team with Juventus because obviously since the recommendation of Maurizio Sarri, obviously he hasn't played a single minute under his guidance, so he's actually served his 2 requirements now at Juventus. So, but at least he can show the likes of Daniel James, Martial and Rashford how to be more effective in the box, which is very, very good. But he's going to be our first signing in January, I should presume, and he will be our 4th signing, overall, under the Ole Gunnar Solsjaker era. So it will be actually, good to see him, Mandzukic, come into the football club. Obviously, other players have been mentioned as well. Obviously, there has been a lot of talks about Moussa Dembele going on from Lyon. And I think quite a lot of Man United fans, believe, he would be the right calibre player for the football club. Moussa Dembele, only 23 years of age, very, very young. And it's very, very beneficial as well if we were to recommend him in, because Moussa Dembele has already played in the Premier League. Because don't forget, when he was younger, he played for Fulham. He actually began his senior career with Fulham. Very, very good player. He's mainly an out-and-out number 9, by the way. He had a good couple of years with Celtic as well in Scotland. And obviously now he's at Lyon. He's in his 2nd season with Lyon. Last season was his debut season with Lyon. I think he registered 20 goals last season for Lyon. Lyon did pay around £20 million for him from Celtic last summer. If Man United had to go in for him now, he probably will cost the club a substantial amount of money. We'll probably have to pay around 60, maybe 70 million pounds for his services. But it's not, it's not always about, spending big on players, overpaying for players and getting them Glasgow players. It's not always about doing that because, it doesn't always guarantee you success, and that's been proven with Manchester United in the last 6 or 7 years, because we've spent big on players and that we haven't got to that position where we currently should be in that. But sometimes maybe getting average players that you can make good, or maybe or maybe being sensible with the recruitment, sometimes is actually beneficial. But we're obviously known for overpaying for players anywhere. I will agree in the aspects that we're overpaid for Fred. There's a prime example. We overpaid for Harry Maguire, but I think that Harry Maguire has addressed our defensive deficiencies. I will agree at the time in 2017 we overpaid for Lukaku because we paid £75 million for him. You could say now, analysing Paul Pogba's career since he rejoined for Juventus back in 2016, we overpaid for Paul Pogba. So we are known for obviously now doing that. But I think, like I mentioned, going back to what I said, I think Moussa Dembele would be the right solution for Man United. But there's also a lot of other players on our agenda, who we could also go in for. There's also been a lot of talks about James Maddison from Leicester. He's another player on our agenda, and to be fair, I think he would dramatically improve our midfield with James Maddison. He's proven now in the Premier League. He's a player that's got a lot of stamina. His work rate's good. He's good at his passing ability is good. He can also create chances. Like he proven with Leicester last season. Obviously it was his debut season in the Premier League last season, but last season he created more chances than any other player. So yeah, again, I think he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United. But like I said, if we can get the number of players that we want in, and we can get the right players, then I think we can definitely be a future title contenders without a shadow of a doubt. But like I did confirm at the start of this season, and I think I also mentioned it towards the back end of last season, I did say that, despite the three signings that were recommended in during the summer, I still expected Man United not to mount any kind of title challenge up this season or win the league, because obviously we do know that our squad is not good enough, to currently win the league at the moment. I think it's definitely, good enough for a top four finish, and, Solskjaer, is aware of the expectations he has to exceed at Man United if he is, to remain in the job. And I said, our expectations this season, will be to finish in that top four. Because obviously we want to get back into that top four, so we can get back. So we can want to get into the top four, so we can get back into the Champions League and that. Because obviously, when you're not in Champions League football anywhere, it's going to be harder to attract players to the elite level. But I think anyway, our aspirations will be that top four in the next couple of seasons, because obviously, it's going to take a long rebuilding process for Manchester United. But at least if we was to get the top four this season, then it will give us something to build on and that. But I'll be gutted if we finish out the top four this season. It's still going to be hard, obviously, for Man United, to get into that top four, because we still sit 7 points behind them at the moment. But what? Right. But probably, it would be beneficial, to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer more time at the football club. Like I mentioned, he's been here just under a year and that. Obviously we know it's been totally comparison under Solskjaer's guidance, to what we saw when he was the interim manager, because, everything went well, when he was the interim manager. He won his first 8 games, he won 14 out of 19 in total, and he exceeded expectations at that point. And my perceptions, obviously, were different regarding Solskjaer in that 3-month period, because I thought back then he was the right man to elevate Manchester United forward. But it has all gone wrong since he's got the job permanently. He's obviously on a 3-year contract. And my perceptions have changed regarding Solskjaer over the course of the last 7 months or so. The Man United have made a lot of mistakes over the years, and I definitely believe one of the mistakes, was giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. We should have never given him the job, so obviously, that was one of the mistakes. And in a way, I do feel sorry for Solskjaer, because I do believe that the club have put him in a very, very difficult position. I actually believe, from my own perception, that the expectations are basically too high for him. But I think his job is safe anywhere for at least this season. Definitely safe for him at least this season. But Solskjaer, the element of concerns I've got about him, obviously, like I mentioned, tactically he's been bad for the majority of this season. Also he hasn't really got any intuition on how to manage a big football club like Manchester United, as you all know. He hasn't. Because he hasn't really got that managerial experience, to the highest level. So that's an element of concern I've got about him. He has got a lot of trust with him and his young upcoming players. That's something I will, credit him for, because we have got a lot of young players in the squad, that are developing and trying to improve at Manchester United. Like I did take into account, I've got some element of concerns about certain young upcoming players, so I think it would be very beneficial for us to maybe, loan some of the young upcoming players out in January. But I can definitely assure that, Williams, maybe Garner, very, very probable Greenwood, and very, very probable Tuanzebe will become successes at the football club, and that without a shadow of a doubt. But we have got quite a few. We've got quite a lot of young players in the squad, and that. Obviously, we've also got a lot of experienced players in the squad, and like I mentioned, despite the fact that a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, I still believe there is more problematic players at the football club that need to be moved on in January and next summer. So we also need to focus on the outgoings as well as the incomings next year. That's obviously very, very essential. That's obviously very, very essential indeed in that. And but yeah, I would say still give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer more time at the football club. So yeah, this is what I would do. Regarding the director of football, well, I'd like Man United, to get a new director of football in. Don't forget, for the majority of the summer, we was trying to get a new director of football in, but obviously we didn't get one. I did say anyway that's one of the structural changes, we do need to see at the football club. There was quite a few former Man United players linked with the directors role during the summer. Don't forget the other week, there was a lot of talks about Edwin van der Sar, also, coming in. But I said, if we were to get one in, it would be reliable. It would be beneficial, to see someone who knows the traditions of the club, someone who's got that experience, and someone who would be reliable to oversee our transfer business. And like I do keep mentioning, I think, Edwin van der Sar would be the right candidate. But Solskjaer is actually defending the club's current structure. So what he means in that aspect is that he feels as though that, we don't need a new director of football. So obviously, that's his perceptions on that. That's his perceptions on that. But like I do keep saying, regardless of who our manager is, we're never going to replicate, what we did under Alex Ferguson. We're never going to be the team that we was under Ferguson, because under Ferguson, he developed a lot of young players, obviously. We had great players, he controlled the transfer policies, he controlled the contracts, and, we just got to accept the fact now that no one can invoke his legacy at Man United. And we're not under the Ferguson era now. And we haven't been under the Ferguson era for almost 7 years. So this is a different era with different players and different groups that Manchester United are building. And I hope this team now, this day and age, can replicate, what the team did under Alex Ferguson. But obviously we do know that's obviously not going to happen. But Solskjaer obviously, was transformed into a winner, by Alex Ferguson. But he will stay at Manchester United. I can definitely assure for him at least this season. Like I said, about £700-800 million has been spent in Man United in the last 6 or 7 years on players. We've also got players on big contracts at the football club. I also want to take that into account. So hopefully, Manchester United, can get a good result this evening against Chelsea. Bournemouth's going to be a difficult game at the weekend, because they've got some really, really good players, and they haven't enjoyed not that much of a bad start to the season. So we have got games coming up thick and fast. We also need to, Premier League's obviously the most imperative for us, but obviously, we need to focus on the Europa League as well. We've done quite well in the Europa League so far, undefeated. We've won 2 out of 3 in the Europa League. We've registered 7 points from a possible 9. So we aren't doing too bad in that either. I do definitely believe that, we will get to the knockout stages in that competition. Obviously, the FA Cup isn't until January. But, we have enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 3 decades. So last time we had as bad a start to a season as this was obviously back in 1989. But hopefully now, as I say, this is the turning point, because I've seen changes in Man United in the last 3 games, and I think momentum is starting to build, which is obviously a positive. But very, very happy about that. But Solskjaer's our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. We're not really known for sacking football club, even though, we've sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era. And that, I've also been very, very frustrated with a lack of, recruit with the, I've been frustrated with the bad recruitment in the last 6-7 years. Been frustrated, with the lack of, competitiveness. Frustrated with the, lack of silverware, because we haven't really won much. We haven't really won much since the Ferguson era. Obviously, the vast majority of our silverware we won, obviously, came under Ferguson. Won 38 trophies under Ferguson, but we got Moyes in. We didn't win out under Moyes. Van Gaal, he won the FA Cup, and Jose Mourinho, he won the Europa League and League Cup in his first season with Manchester United. So I think, Solskjaer will definitely last at least until the end of this season. But it will be interesting to see, who he can bring into the football club in January and that. But like I did mention, guys, I will be doing my match reaction for the Chelsea Man United game tomorrow. Won't have time this evening. But I might go have a bet on the game, go see what the odds are. Very, very likely Chelsea will be the favourites, regarding on their recent run of form. Chelsea have won the last 7 in all competitions. But yeah, you know, we've got to put another performance out. If we can replicate what we did against Norwich, then we've got a chance, you know, of salvaging something from Chelsea, you know, like I mentioned. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always. And take care, God bless, and I'll see you guys all again very, very soon.